Hi there, welcome to Bugscore. My name is Karan and I'm one of the founders. I'm going to spend a bit of time today explaining what Bugscore does and what value it can add to you as a user or as a business. Bugscore is a social network centered around scores. The scores we collect from the masses represent consumer opinion on any person, product, or business that makes up our world. Essentially, these scores quantify, for the first time in history, the brand value of any person, product, or business. If you think what Wikipedia has done for learning, and Google has done for searching, and Facebook and Twitter have done for sharing information, Bugscore is doing it for scoring information. With that, let's begin. So what you're seeing here is the homepage bugscore.com. To your left, you can see all the popular profiles of famous people, products, and businesses that are currently trending in Bugscore. This includes famous athletes, business people, actors, movies, restaurant chains, companies, and anything that's of interest to the Bugscore community at the moment. You can also search Bugscore for over 300,000 least and most popular types of people, products, and businesses that are in the system. You can also do category searches. For example, let's type in TVs or politicians or even soccer players. In fact, any type of occupation, product type, or business is most probably in the Bugscore system today, if it's worldwide renowned or relatively well known. Now, if it's not, you can simply add it to Bugscore very easily in under a minute. But let's get to the meat, or to the heart of what Bugscore really is all about. It's a system that answers the question, what does the world think about you, or about any product or any business at any given point in time? In essence, what is your quantified brand value? Well, let's find out mine. Okay, so what we're looking at here is my Bugscore profile. Now on my LinkedIn profile, you can see where I've worked. On Facebook and Twitter, you can see what I'm up to. But where can you actually see what those around me, my friends, my family, my colleagues, and my foes actually think about me? What is my brand value, my quality as perceived by those around me? And it's exactly this information that is reflected in my score. I can drill down on my score to see how people perceive my strengths and weaknesses, and I can see how this has all evolved through time. Now, where this gets interesting is, imagine if you're a student looking for a job or an experienced professional looking for that next career jump. Apart from your CV, which is a subjective view of you on your achievements, the Bugscore is an objective view on how you are like to work with as perceived by those around you. Keep this in mind next time speaking to employers. But right now, we've only scratched the surface. How does my brand value actually compare to the people that really matter? The big guns, the celebrities? Well, let's check it out. So, this is the great Tom Cruise. He is a controversial celebrity, but according to the many people who have scored him in Bugscore, he ranks amongst the top 4% of his peers or fellow actors. You can even see the scores or the quality of films that he has acted in over the last 10, 20, 30 years of his career. You can also see how consumer opinion on Tom Cruise by his fans and his haters has evolved through time. And you can also correlate this to major movie releases or other news flow in the media that may have triggered love or hate for Mr. Cruise. But where this gets really interesting for bloggers, journalists, news reporters, or in general the entire media and entertainment industry is how this brand value compares to other celebrity actors in his space. Let's take a look. So here we are in the brand comparison area of Bugscore. Any blogger, journalist, media rep, or third party can run side-by-side comparisons of brand value between people, products, and businesses. In this case, we've zoomed into Tom Cruise's brand value as measured by the masses, and you can already see why people have scored him an 86 out of 100. He ranks very highly on personality attributes such as influence and acting ability, amongst others. But where the real fun begins is how Tom Cruise's brand value compares versus Batman, played by Once Upon a Time by George Clooney and now Christian Bale. Or how does it compare to James Bond, now played by Daniel Craig? Let's take a look. So here you can immediately see all four scores are pretty much neck and neck. But there's a tangible difference in scores between Tom Cruise and George Clooney. Why is this? Well, here's all the data, by attribute, showing exactly why the public values Tom slightly higher than George. But has this always been the case? Let's take a look. And the answer is no. See, this is where things get really exciting. For the first time in history, any third party can mathematically show how the brand value of a celebrity has evolved over time, and correlate this to key actions or news flow that a celebrity might have been involved in. It could be a run-in with the law, movie releases, or anything for that matter. But this is only measuring the brand value of people. It's 1/3 of what Bugscore is capable of. In fact, we do this for all products and businesses in the world. Let's take a deeper look at businesses and how they can benefit on Bugscore. So you always hear about Facebook and Twitter's rivalry. Together, both companies have a large market value of close to $180 billion. But that rivalry is dwarfed by one of the biggest rivalries in the history of competition as we know it, namely that of Apple and Samsung. Their combined value is close to $650 billion. They have been embroiled in patent lawsuits, mainly with Samsung defending and Apple suing for years. But till today, no one has actually been able to answer the question, which company is valued higher in the eyes of the public? Which company has a higher brand value, and why? With Bugscore, you can do just this. Whether you're a business or any third party, the information is there in the system. Let's take a deeper look at Apple's profile. With a score of 79 out of 100, Apple is ranked comfortably in the 12% of its peers, which makes sense. On the face of it, it is one of the most popular companies in the world. It has revolutionized product category after product category. But let's see what the people actually say about Apple. Here, one respondent says, "It has high quality products, has a certain coolness factor and so many great apps. Cons, I really dislike Apple's price. I find their hardware to be worse off compared to Android devices, and it's really expensive. When they bring out a new iPhone, there is very little change with a $500 price tag." Another reviewer says, "The products are always sleek in appearance, but they're expensive." Keep going, the story seems to resonate. High quality and innovative products, but they just seem to be too expensive. Now, is that actually reflected in the score? Indeed it is. Apart from ethics, where Apple takes a huge hit, putting them in the bottom 50% of their peers, their value for money score is just floating above water. In fact, with a score of 67, they leave a lot to be desired in terms of value for money. And now to finally answer the age-old question, which company, Apple or Samsung, does the public value more? Let's check it out. So, Apple has received a 79 out of 100, with its lowest two attributes being its ethics score and its value for money. Its products are expensive, and owing to some worker-related incidents in some of its Asian factories, which have made news around the world over the last year, its ethics have been called into question. Overall, nevertheless, still a decent score of 79 out of 100, putting Apple in the top 12% of hardware and tech industry peers. But Samsung, one wouldn't have thought that the differential between the two, the perceived brand value, would be so different, but Samsung actually scores a 90 out of 100 when compared to Apple. And the reason is pretty clear. On a product, on a service, on an overall brand, an overall cool factor, value for money, people, ethics, and investment value level, Samsung seems to take the lead over Apple. Now, has this always been the case? Maybe not so. Bugscore only launched early last year, and since then, for a good 6 to 7 months, 2 or 3 quarters, you could see their perceived brand value was pretty much neck and neck. Both companies were embroiled in a flurry of legal and IP and patent battles, the decisions of which only came through towards the end of last year, giving Samsung then a significant brand advantage or lead in the eyes of the consumers. And Apple since then lost almost 10 to 15 percentage points of perceived brand value as measured by Bugscore since then. So these data insights that Bugscore is producing every second, every minute, every day, every hour and every month of the year are opening up new data opportunities. And overall, this means that we, being a big data company, can provide these type of data insights to a multitude of industries. But the question does present itself. Being able to quantify the brand value of a person, product, or business and comparing it to its competitors is interesting. It makes a good news story and is certainly a good tool for companies with which to manage their online and offline brand perception and reputation. But where we believe Bugscore really comes into its own is in its predictive abilities for listed businesses. Let's hypothesize for a second that a company's share price is directly correlated to its earnings performance, and that its earnings are generated by the company selling its products and services. And the speed and the recurring nature at which these products and services sell entirely depends on the customer loyalty and the company's brand value as perceived by the masses. This must mean that indirectly the company's brand score, or the Bugscore, is correlated to its share price, right? And in fact it is. Which means if used correctly, the Bugscore can indeed predict changes in a company's market value. Now here's an interesting piece of research we put out on the 20th of January 2014. Explicitly calling Apple's share price decline based on its drop in Bugscore in the preceding weeks. I will just find this article and show it to you in a second. Here you have it. Is Apple's share price about to tank? And here we correlated Apple's share price, as seen here in the Google history chart, to Apple's Bugscore. And then we overlaid it, and you could see a clear early indicator relationship. Needless to say that in the 2 weeks that followed, Apple's shares fell by over 12%, and over $50 billion of market value was wiped off. If you have any further questions about Bugscore and any of its capabilities, please feel free to contact us under support@bugscore.com, or you can access the help section to find out more about the business. Thank you.